Suho landed directly on the man's face, slamming him into the ground. His shadow soldiers and the sword silently observed from behind. The other hunters stood frozen in shock as the man's face smashed into the cold, hard floor. The hunter glared at Suho, demanding his identity. Suho froze, realizing his body had acted on its own. Trespassing on another guild's territory was bought illegal. He needed a plan. A thought sparked in his mind. Shadows swirled around his face, forming a mask that concealed his identity. He faced the hunters, his cold gaze piercing through the darkness. The masked figure stood before them, an unknown avenger confronting the Hyena Guild's crimes. The hunters shouted, demanding Suho's identity, their anger flaring. Without warning, they lunged at him, launching an attack. Suho swiftly dodged, his movements fluid and precise. He assessed the situation, recalling his research. The Hyena Guild's members averaged around D rank. Holding back his full strength, he prepared to subdue them without revealing his true daunt power. Suho delivered a powerful punch, sending one hunter crashing into another. Without losing momentum, he followed up with a swift kick, striking two hunters in the face simultaneously. Beru observed the fight in silence, his thoughts filled with admiration. The young monarch had grown so much that those humans called D-rank awakeners were no longer a match for him. Beru's heart swelled with pride, deeply moved by Suho's rapid progress. Suho glanced at the fallen hunters and muttered to himself, realizing how easily he had won. A status window appeared before him. Status window. Name, Sung Suho. Level, 16. Health, 2350. Mana, 235. Strength, 33. Agility, 25. Vitality, 25. Intelligence, 25. Sense, 25. The hunters lay bound on the ground, completely subdued. Suho shook his head, brushing off the brief encounter. Beru observed the scene in admiration, noting the flawless execution of Suho's actions. The civilians expressed their gratitude, asking if Suho was a hunter from the Hunter Association. Suho vaguely affirmed, advising them to seek safety while the situation was handled. As the civilians departed, Suho silently observed them, questioning the Hyena Guild's motive for abducting people. The sword's presence stirred, sensing something nearby. It directed Suho's attention, revealing that the true reason for their arrival lay ahead. Suho opened the storage building, his eyes widening in shock at the sight before him. The cramped space was filled with metal cages. A faint, unsettling energy lingered in the air, catching Beru's attention. His sharp senses detected something unusual hidden within the building. As Suho scanned the cages, his gaze settled on a small puppy trembling inside one of them. Confusion flickered in his eyes as he wondered what twisted purpose the Hyena Guild had for locking up both people and animals in such a place. The sword revealed that the creature was no ordinary puppy. It was a young wolf pup, the descendant of the king of beasts, the monarch of fangs. Suho's eyes widened in disbelief at the revelation. The sword explained that after losing the war against the Shadow Monarch, the Monarch of Fangs had entrusted his surviving descendant to a guardian and evacuated it to the sanctuary. The monarch's wish was not to birth another monarch, but simply to preserve his bloodline from extinction. The faint energy lingering around the pup was a remnant of the Monarch of Fangs, though greatly weakened. If left alone, the creature would surely perish. The sword awaited Suho's decision, placing the young monarch at a crossroads. Suho was about to make his decision when his eyes suddenly widened, sensing an unfamiliar presence. A cold voice echoed from the entrance. The unseen figure remarked how surprising it was to find only one person inside, considering the chaos outside. Suho's sharp gaze shifted toward the voice, cursing under his breath. He hadn't accounted for another enemy. As he turned, his eyes narrowed. What stood before him wasn't a human, but a monster. The monster seethed with contempt, cursing the Hyena Guild for their incompetence and affirming that humans could never be trusted. The sword recognized the creature as Brocky, the loyal guard of the Monarch of Fang's descendant. Suho's eyes widened at the revelation. Brocky acknowledged the sword, surprised by its survival. The sword reminded Brocky of his duty to protect the descendant, questioning his negligence. Brocky, enraged, dashed toward Suho, accusing him of touching his possession. Suho's thoughts raced. The monster was fast. Brocky, consumed by rage, grabbed the wolf pup and smashed it toward Suho. Suho blocked the attack, but the overwhelming impact sent him crashing through the wall, launching him into the stacked containers nearby. Beru watched with concern as Suho staggered to his feet, blood trickling from his head. The heavy blow had left Suho dazed, his head ringing from the impact. Despite the pain, he steadied himself, brushing off Beru's worried gaze. A notification appeared before Suho. Skill. Resilience has leveled up. His physical defense instantly increased from plus 20% to plus 40%. Beru sensed the faint energy lingering in the air since their arrival, now certain of its origin, Itarim. Suho's eyes widened in shock at the revelation. Beru's gaze fixed on Brocky, declaring that the foreign energy was emanating from the guardian beast itself. Rakan's fang trembled with anger, questioning if Brocky understood the gravity of harming the monarch's descendant. Despite losing the sanctuary, it had struggled to preserve what little power remained. Brocky's cold gaze remained unwavering. He declared that only the strong survive, while the weak exist solely to serve them. It was the law of nature, where the weak become nourishment for the strong. Although the wolf pup was fragile, its noble bloodline made it the perfect source of nourishment. Brocky revealed that he had been periodically consuming the pup's blood to sustain his strength. Rakan's fang seethed with fury, vowing to kill Brocky for his betrayal. Brocky sneered, mocking the powerless blade. He taunted that a half-blood like Rakan's fang could do nothing alone. The death of Rakan was simply proof of his weakness. As the one who survived, Brocky claimed himself the strongest, the most fitting to inherit the title of the next monarch of fangs. Suho's punch shattered Brocky's hand, leaving blood dripping from the beast's wound. Brocky glared at his injury, seething with rage. A shadow soldier swiftly snatched the wolf pup, retreating to safety. Brocky's burning eyes locked onto Suho, his fury intensifying. Gripping the sword Grief tightly, Suho's aura flared with unwavering resolve. The bond between Shadow and Fang formed in that moment, a first alliance born from shared hatred. As the vague energy of Itarim lingered in the air, Suho's heart pounded. He had finally found a clue that connected to his father. Brocky's voice rumbled with contempt, his sharp claws flexing. The beast's crimson eyes burned, with murderous intent as he snarled at Suho. A sudden notification flickered before Suho. Quest notice. Urgent quest. Hunt the hyena. Objective. Eliminate the hyena Brocky and secure your safety.